Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing. This is the June the 23rd. It's a beautiful Saturday. The rain's over with, but I'm going to take a little field trip. I need to go by Del Mar. We still have some of those pornographic newspapers out in public over there. In fact, they're outside in a little kiosk-looking thing, and you know, I just I don't know what to say. But anyway, then I'm going to splice in some film of the South Campus out there that's supposed to be above floodplain and all that. I've told you for years I've been by there when a woman owned it and was going to build a three-story house out there. The slab sunk into the ground. The cows were up to their bellies in water half the time after it got a good solid rain. Anyway, so I'm going to take a field trip and I'll be right back. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can hear me. The wind's pretty ferocious out here. This is a little newspaper stand. They've got them several places on Del Mar College campus. It's right between the building over here, which I work in, which is the Garcia Science Building, and building over here known as the, I'm not going to pan up on it, that's the Coles Building. But this is out in the open where everybody can see it and neighbor kids can come by. But if you take a look at this, the top row up there, they've got about, maybe 8 or 10 copies of that pornographic foghorn that was put out by that moron that was over there as a 19-year-old Pulitzer Prize winner, Nobel Prize winner over there who knows everything. And then they denied that Del Mar has anything to do with the foghorn, but if you look right up there at the top, it says foghorn, and just above it in little bitty letters it says Del Mar College. And then if you look at the front of the newspaper, the one, especially the one with all the porno in it, then you know, it says the Del Mar College foghorn. So I don't know, I hate to keep flogging this horse. Now, my wife was a journalism major undergraduate. She was a prolific writer. She was very good at it, and she worked in this building over here known as the Coles Building. Okay? Now, she taught developmental reading over here at the master's level. She got her master's degree. I tried to get her to go for a PhD, and she said no, she didn't want to do that right at the time, and then she passed away about 5 years ago. Anyway, as a journalist, and a damn good one, she would look at this thing over here and she would probably just throw up and roll over in her grave if she saw that edition of the paper and a couple of ones that are prior to that, which was nothing but pure unadulterated pornography. Okay, so I'm just going to keep harping on it, and maybe Dr. Escamilla will get his bones over here and clean these damn papers out. I'm sure the neighborhood really loves it too. So anyway, just wanted to let you know what's going on, and then I'm going to swing around if I can and show you a lot of new building. I'm not going to go over there, it's a mess, but what we've got is $157,000 east and west campus, and you can see that we're putting up these monuments over here, okay? And it goes all the way from here back to the Harvard Center. Now, if we can't and don't have increased enrollment over the last many years from 1992, and now our enrollment is about the same, but 20% of them don't come to campus, they're dual credit students, then how in the world are you taxpayers going to justify cleaning and so forth this stuff? We can't keep up with what we've got. The grounds look like hell, and the buildings, you know, our custodians are real good, but generally overall the you know, custodial service at this facility stinks. So how are we going to take care of all that, scrub it, insure it, and all that's good stuff? And we don't need it because we've got empty classrooms 24 hours a day, 7 days a week as we speak. Anyway, just thought I'd try to get that off my chest. And I'm going to head back over to, I'm going to go back by the 96 acres that was flooded the other day. I've got some film of that I'll show you at the tail end of the show. Anyway, y'all take care. This is where your tax money goes, right down the toilet. So start going to the Taxpayers Association meetings on the first Saturday of every month, 2 o'clock, at the small Planet Delicatessen at Staples and Saratoga. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, before I retire to Studio One, I just want to voice my disgust with the recycle driver that keeps doing this to me. that you can see my can is wedged up against a telephone pole in my alleyway. Okay? Now, if you look over to the left, where the far left of the screen was, that's where that thing was set out for pickup. There was a garbage can in between. So when I got home, what I've got is this piece of crap over here, and they've just jammed that thing back up against there. It happens frequently. It's either out in the middle of the alleyway or it's up against that post, and I don't know why. So I'm just going to voice my disgust with this and just let the city know that you know, I'm sick and tired of this. So every time this happens, I'm going to put it back on the air. So, you know, you can either shape up or ship out, ladies and gentlemen. This city has got the poorest people that I've ever seen. Now, I've loved a lot of the people. They're very hardworking. You talk about the water people now that have been duped out of their overtime and so forth and so on. And this city, the managers down there, and a lot of those people need to be taken out and flogged, as far as I'm concerned. They're taking some very fine people. And I had some trash haulers, you know, the people that drove the garbage trucks and so forth, come to Taxpayers Association not too terribly long ago, and they were being reprimanded for doing their job. So, you know, if somebody goes against one of these quote-unquote managers down there, then they're going to go get themselves fired. And that has got to cease. So I'll keep you updated with this, and as Taxpayers Association president, I am red hot mad. So somebody's butt's going to be in my sights for a long time. I'm sick and tired of this city looking like trash and people acting like this, and this is probably the guy that's going to stick there and not get into trouble. Okay? But I want to find out who he is, and I'm going to go down and have a little chat with the city and find out why I have to keep picking this thing up out of the street and the alleyway. Okay? All right. Well, you know, just do what you want to do down there, city. You've got 26 attorneys. You've tried to sue me before, and you you balked on that. It's called the Friends of the Coliseum. So, you know, if you want me down there stirring it up, then just keep it up, ladies and gentlemen. But I need to have something done about this. This is a crime. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back from my trip to Del Mar College. My employer and the enormous drain on taxpayers' money around here. And I just want to go ahead and say, I think in the beginning, indicate that the times for this show are at 8:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. on on Tuesdays and Wednesdays evenings, okay? And then there's another one that's put into a blank spot. I won't, it's a real off time, so I won't worry about that one. But I do want to address these flowers. These are dedicated to Miss Connie, my mother, Miss Lynn, my deceased wife, and a good friend of mine, Miss April 23. And they're absolutely gorgeous, and you know, I wish I had something more pleasant to say than what I'm about Del Mar College. I have been there for almost 30 years, folks, after I retired from a long research career in industry and so forth and so on. And I've never regretted a second of coming here because I've got great students and so forth and so on. But I do appreciate the taxpayers in this fine city to the point where I am the president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association, and we try to blow the whistle on all the lies that are told around here by our elected officials, city, county, Del Mar College Board, and so forth and so on. So I've used this several times. You've seen it. This is old Pinocchio with his nose stuck out there. He's been lying to Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy's sitting here raising hell with him. And, you know, I hope that you will join me up here on the end of this nose and point at all these politicians around here that are doing nothing but making themselves rich. And they think they're real popular for this and lying to you a good bit. Okay? Now, when I went over to Del Mar, my purpose was I go between the Garcia Science Building, where my office is and my laboratory is, and I go over and teach double sections, you know, the population and the sections in the Coles building, so I can get a lot of students through. They need that class, particularly the allied health people. Okay? Now, and I also teach a majors micro. and I don't do it off the computer. Okay. Now, I went over there the other day, and I was passing by that blue paper rack that I showed you, and I said, just out of curiosity, I wonder if Del Mar College has removed all those pornographic issues that were published on April 30th of 2018. Okay. Now, it says quite clearly here on the front of this newspaper, it says Del Mar College Foghorn News. Okay, right here on the banner. Now, the people over there are trying to cover their rear ends and say that this idiot that wrote this article, okay, his last name was Young. Okay, in fact, his Mark Young, he was the editor-in-chief of this during this period of time, 19-year-old Nobel Prize-winning journalist and so forth. Okay, now they're trying to convince me that the foghorn has nothing to do with the students over there and the publication of this. Okay, but here in their own writing on page number 2 of this issue, and every one of them, it gives the staff, it gives the the entertainment editors and the features editors, and then Mr. Young over here, the editor-in-chief. And it says below that, it says the Foghorn News is a forum for student news, events, and opinions produced by Del Mar College students for students. Okay? So it's produced by Del Mar College students. Now, they have a facility inside of the Harbin Center over there. They've got instructors over there, journalism instructors and so forth, and everybody has associated the Foghorn as the official campus newspaper of Del Mar College. So now they're trying to wiggle out of that. So I don't know how they're going to do it. But this was, but what horrified me was that we've got a bunch of young students running around Del Mar College. We've got some of the dual credit students, and then we've got the collegiate high school. Now, why anyone would think that cartoons of pornographic things in a student newspaper that's going to be read by the young folks like that, younger than college students, is beyond my comprehension. Now, I don't think it's a good journalist that has got written several, very pornographic articles over there. I won't go into some of them. They're disgusting as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a prude, never have been, but there are limits to the freedom of speech around here when it comes to pornography. I think that's when we need to cut it. And then I see Hollywood stars, saying F you, Trump, to the President of the United States. Now, whether I believe in Trump or not, I'm about as middle down the road as I can get, and I'm just to the right of Genghis Khan in my politics most of the time. I grew up in a military family. My father was a very, very highly decorated World War II Air Force pilot. It was actually Army Air Corps. Got himself shot down. Spent 90 days shooting retreating Germans through that portion of France with the French underground. They nabbed him and got him before the Germans could shoot him. Okay, and then he flew Korea, and then he also flew 350 missions in Vietnam. So I have feelings about the lack of respect that people have for freedom of speech. And my ancestors go back to Lexington and Concord during the Revolutionary War, fighting for your freedom out there, and mine of freedom of speech. So I'm going to exercise it. But I don't think that porno spread out to a bunch of kids and children is the way to go. Now, another problem I have with that, ladies and gentlemen, is that rack that I showed you has about 8 to 10 copies of this pornographic stuff still sitting in it. And I would think that the Del Mar College administration and the journalism people over there would step up and say, hey, this is not right, and how they approve that publication, I don't know. But it is totally and completely disgusting. Okay? And then there were, there was a lot of brouhaha around town about that, and people voicing their opinion. And, Del Mar College is under the philosophy that it's freedom of speech as long as you don't say too much. that comes from the Neville Brothers song of long ago. Okay? So it disgusts me, and I don't mind saying that, folks. I have my freedom of speech too, but I'm not going to use pornographic words and so forth and drawings and stuff to get my point across. Thank God I've outgrown things like that. In fact, I never did do it, so I guess you can't outgrow something you didn't do. Now, just recently, we had a regent who the other Board of Regents members couldn't help but just try to cast dispersions upon his good name. He's probably one of the ones that was most interested in advancing education in this community. That's what community colleges are all about. But we've got a new Board of Regents member. Okay, Mr. Watts finally had enough, threw his hand up and quit, and then the board interviewed people to pick somebody to take his District 4 spot. Now Mr. Watts is out campaigning for the overall district member, okay, at large. And so anyway, he's out. He wants the whole, all of the districts. They have those people there. Okay. Now, this memo that came out from the Delmar Board of Regents and so forth is from Michael Bratton. I think he's over there in the Public Relations Department. It says, Board of Regents appoint Mary Sherwood, Ph.D., to fill District C. So I'm going to invite Dr. Sherwood to our next Taxpayers Association meeting, which, by the way, if you people can attend that, it's going to be on the July the 7th at 2 o'clock at the Small Planet Delicatessen, and I think that's at Staples and, what is it? Not Alameda, it's Saratoga. Okay, I'll spit it out. Okay, it's at 2 o'clock. We're in the back room, so please make it. And we need to start paying attention. Now, the woman's got a background in all sorts of things. I guess she did earn her Ph.D. and I think it was community, or not community, but college relations and that type of thing. You know, the internal thing that we have a problem with over here with a very bloated administration at Delmar College. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out, and then I did pan around to those extremely large buildings that are going up. We have not had an increase in enrollment since 1992, and that tells you something. And then we're preaching that we're going to need all this Southside campus and all, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. I've got about 5 or 6 minutes of the people say I'm crazy that it's a floodplain out there. So I've got documentation after the rains last week. You know, we had showers Monday through Thursday, I think, lots of flooding around town. So we've got pictures of that for you. And then it says fewer students this spring, data shows. So we're basing our budgets and all on increasing enrollment, which never has happened, folks. It hasn't happened. And then we've got people around here. Nick Jimenez with the Caller Times. He's sitting here. Don't follow Guy Watts' example. He calls Guy Watts a racist and a bigot and everything else under the sun. So I've seen a lot of Nick Jimenez's columns in the Caller Times, which are very, very political. They're very, very racist, and they're very, very biased against anybody that's not of Hispanic descent. Okay, and then we've got democracy depends on informed electorate. This is again Nick Jimenez preaching, you know, more trash and so forth and so on. And then the opinion that came out on June 15th from the Caller Times, Delmar College Board of Regents upped its game, and that's when they say that when they hired Dr. Mary Sherwood. So I wish her well. I hope she doesn't fall into that trash pit over there with the majority of the other Board of Regents members. They are uneducated, and they don't know what they're talking about half the time, and they spend a bunch of money. And then they put out this thing. I printed this out at my expense. This is just a day worth of board meetings over there on June the 11th. And it's got all this blather about how we're going to do all this good stuff over there and spend your money. So I, for a long time, went ahead and I made these signs up. It's got my name at the bottom during the heyday of when we were going to go ahead and vote for these bonds to build that Southside campus. It's going to be probably all overall, if they ever finish what they started out there, in I don't know how many more years, but we're going to be over $500 million to build that. So are you willing to do that when we can't get an increase in enrollment since 1992? And that increase, or a flat line, in the last 3 years, what they're doing is we do have the full-time enrollment students and the course enrollment students, but we've got 20 some odd percent of the count that they have now are dual credit students which do not go to campus. So what I'm going to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is if we can't afford to keep up the buildings that we've got just on East Campus alone, then look at that square footage over there that I showed you. I'm going to go over there and film it extensively for you one of these days. But how in the hell are we going to pay for that? It's not budgeted. Budgets are never correct over there. They don't make any sense to a qualified master's degree in business, right? And you know, it's a mess, folks. And it doesn't make any difference to that man because he's a CPA. We're still trying to figure it out. But we have tracked enrollment since 1992. So in just a second, I'm going to go turn the camera off, and then I'm going to go ahead and film these beautiful roses for a few minutes, and then I'm going to try to splice in that footage that I've got from the Lake Del Mar College out there at the Southside campus site, Yorktown and Rodfield Road. So I don't know what to tell you, folks, except you've been duped, and you continue being duped, and you continue to be lied to, and it's your money. So if I were you, I think I would perk up, figure out what these people are talking about, and get off your rumps and go vote no when Del Mar College goes for more money, okay? And call your regents and raise hell with them. Anyway, I'll be right back.
couple days, maybe 3, and we're on the 96 acres again. Just looking at the drainage, as we mentioned last time, it looked like it was draining real well to me. I'm not an engineer, but it seems to have a low spot here, and I think it's fairly obvious that we've got standing water. Again, I'm not an engineer. This may well qualify as good drainage, but I'm not one to debate facts. So when I said I thought we had a drainage problem, I really did think it. Don't know. Seems to be a bird out there that's enjoying a bird bath of some sort. So it does look good. It's just a little bit wet in what appears to be about an acre. It may be more. As you can see, there's a couple of dips over here. Yeah, they'll probably dry up in a week or so. We'll just keep monitoring. But it's a good looking 96 acres, there's no doubt about that. And as you can see, there's construction in the background over there. So the area is clearly developing, and if you drive east down Yorktown, you'll see a couple of other subdivisions going in. So it's going to be a nice area. Again, I don't know if this qualifies as good drainage or not. I understand the ditch back there at the northern end of the property was pretty full during the 7-inch rainstorm we had. And we don't get those often. But it doesn't take much rain to fill up this little gully right here. Again, I live in the first subdivision west of here, so I see this on a fairly regular basis. I ride my bicycle down that ditch to the side.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, those are absolutely gorgeous pink roses, and like I say, they're dedicated to the people that really mean a lot to me in this lifetime. So I'm going to let it go.